Menjaga senapan Colt M4 Anda adalah penting untuk ketahanannya dan prestasi optimum. Pembersihan berkala bukan sahaja memastikan kebolehpercayaan tetapi juga mengekalkan ketepatan dan fungsi senjata api Anda.
Step 1. Safety first. Before beginning the cleaning process, always ensure your Colt M4 rifle is unloaded. Remove the magazine, visually inspect the chamber, and then physically check to ensure there is no ammunition present.
Step 2. Gather your cleaning supplies. Gather all the necessary cleaning supplies. Cleaning rod. Bore brush. Patch holder. Cleaning patches. Bore solvent. Lubricating oil. Nylon brush. Toothbrush, optional. Microfiber cloth. Step 3. Disassembly. Carefully disassemble your Colt M4 rifle according to the manufacturer's instructions. This typically involves separating the upper and lower receivers and removing the bolt carrier group, BCG, charging handle, and buffer assembly. Step 4. Clean the barrel. Attach the bore brush to the cleaning rod and apply a small amount of bore solvent to the brush. Insert the brush into the barrel from the chamber end and scrub it back and forth several times to remove fouling and debris. Next, attach a cleaning patch to the patch holder, saturate it with bore solvent, and run it through the barrel to remove any remaining residue. Repeat this process until the patch comes out clean. Step 5. Clean the BCG and charging handle. Using a nylon brush and bore solvent, scrub the bolt carrier group and charging handle to remove carbon buildup and fouling. Pay close attention to the bolt face, gas rings, and other areas where carbon tends to accumulate. Once clean, wipe down the BCG and charging handle with a clean, dry cloth. Step 6. Clean the upper and lower receivers. Using a nylon brush or toothbrush and bore solvent, scrub the inside of the upper and lower receivers to remove any carbon buildup and fouling. Pay special attention to the areas around the chamber, ejection port, and bolt catch. Wipe down the receivers with a clean, dry cloth. Step 7. Lubrication. Apply a small amount of lubricating oil to the BCG, charging handle, and other moving parts of the rifle. Be sure to follow the manufacturer's recommendations for lubrication points and use only high-quality gun oil. Step 8. Reassembly. Carefully reassemble your Colt M4 rifle, ensuring that all components are properly aligned and seated. Test the function of the rifle to ensure everything is working smoothly. Step 9. Final inspection. Inspect your Colt M4 rifle to ensure that it is clean and properly lubricated. Check for any signs of wear or damage that may require further attention. Step 10. Storage. Once you are satisfied with the cleanliness and functionality of your Colt M4 rifle, store it in a secure location away from moisture and other environmental factors that could cause damage.
I'm Mark Rettel, Product Manager and Pro Shooter for Colt Firearms. We're going to talk today about cleaning our AR platform from a field strip position. The first thing I always do before I clean any firearms is wear safety glasses to protect my eyes from solvent. First, we're going to talk about the lower receiver. The lower receiver does not get much carbon or dirt in it whatsoever. What I like to do is in this trigger area where my hammer, my sear, and my trigger are, is give it a quick spray with some sort of aerosol solvent, wipe it down, and just inspect to make sure I don't see any problems whatsoever. The next area I go to is the upper receiver. The upper receiver is fairly straightforward, where I use a bore brush to clean the rifle bore, like you would any type of rifle. Make sure it's nice and clean. The area that you gotta make sure you get clean is in this area here. These lugs here are what the bolt carrier goes in and then locks in order to seat the cartridge all the way so the gun functions. Very important that we clean this area. Now we get into the real nitty-gritty of it, which is the bolt carrier and those parts. The bolt carrier needs to be cleaned through this channel here. This channel is the area that the bolt rides forward and backwards in, and should be clean. Make sure there's no carbon in it. I also look at the gas key and just give it a quick tug to make sure it's nice and tight on the carrier and there's no problems. The next area I go to is the bolt itself. This back part here does get carboned up quite a bit, so I want to make sure I take all the carbon off of there and keep it nice and clean. I want to make sure that my gas rings look good. There's 3 there and I have no problems. I also make sure that my extractor's in place, my pin's in place. I give a quick visual to make sure that there's no chips or chunks out of any of these locking lugs whatsoever on my bolt. And I also actually look at the face to make sure that's nice and clean and everything looks good there. The firing pin needs to be wiped down and cleaned. The most important thing to do is to look at the tip to make sure there's not a chip or a nick or anything wearing on that whatsoever. That can cause a malfunction. The cam key, all I do is wipe it down and give a quick visual to make sure that I don't have any excessive wear or anything like that. That's it. It's a real basic firearm. Easy to maintain, easy to keep running. See you at the range.
Cleaning and maintaining the AR-15 rifle is extremely important because of the direct impingement system. And gas and debris and carbon will build up, especially on your bolt. That's the most important part. So we're going to go through different aspects of what you need to clean and what you need to lube on your rifle. Now here are the tools and the cleaning supplies that I'm going to be using for this project. I typically use Frog Lube and I love this stuff. It's great. But what I want to do is I want to reach as many people as possible and use just what I've used for years just to show you how to do it in the traditional way. So this just kind of covers all the bases. Of course, first thing you do is always check to make sure that the gun is unloaded and check the chamber. Remove the upper from the lower. It makes it a lot easier. Then pull your bolt carrier group out of the back. Now we're going to focus most of our attention on the bolt, and that's because the bolt is the most dirty. It gets the dirtiest when you're shooting, and of course that's because through the gas key all your gas comes down and comes out through the ports and goes through your bolt carrier and into your bolt. But one of the things I want to warn you against, and a lot of guys do this, and to their success, is to run their AR-15s pretty wet. Me personally, I like to run them just right, just enough lube to keep them running right. This keeps from all the buildup of the carbon and debris all through your bolt and your upper receiver. We're going to take the firing pin retaining pin out. Drop your firing pin. Take your bolt, make sure it's in the rear position. Take your cam pin and turn it, and then go ahead and just pull it out. Then remove your bolt. Now you can use your firing pin, but I like to use a small punch to remove my extractor. Just push it through. Lift off the extractor. There's a rubber seal right here. You can take that off and just make sure it's clean, but you want to leave your spring in your extractor. One important area to check is your extractor right here in this little shelf, and just make sure it's clean and free of debris. This is what pulls the spent case out of your chamber. We'll take a little nylon brush. You may need to use a little solvent in case there's some buildup. Next, you can see right here under the extractor, there's some brass buildup. We're just going to clean it up. Get your bolt face. Okay, I'm going to take a little Q-tip and I'm going to put some solvent on the bolt. Get it nice and get some of this debris off of this. Right here is one area in particular where carbon builds up. And so we're going to want to make sure we get that carbon off. Sometimes the solvent will take a lot of it off, and sometimes you have some really tough spots. Using something like a carbon scraper, like this bronze carbon scraper on this mutt, and I had a little demonstration on it before, just making sure that all that's cleaned off. You don't want to use steel, or at least a hardened steel, because you don't want to scratch up your bolt, and you want to keep this really good and clean. And you just want to wipe this down when you get finished to remove the solvent. Wipe down all the areas, your cam pin. Firing pin is a really important place to make sure and inspect. And of course you're inspecting the whole time you're cleaning. Make sure you get your bolt and in the inside where the firing pin fits into your bolt carrier. Get that with solvent. A lot of buildup happens there on the inside of your bolt carrier. I use these really long Q-tips, and they work really great, but you can use regular Q-tips as well. You can also use pipe cleaners, and especially in the channel where the firing pin goes, it really works great. Getting the inside with solvent. You can go into your gas key, just make sure that you get some of the debris out. I wouldn't lube it, I would just take a dry pipe cleaner and just get the residue off. Go ahead and clean off your bolt carrier. Any kind of debris that's on there, you want to just get rid of it. You'll really want to wipe this down good and get that solvent off of there once it kind of settles and gets rid of any kind of debris or carbon. Pipe cleaners are invaluable, being able to get down in where your firing pin channel is. You can see the pipe cleaner coming through. We're going to go ahead and install the extractor onto the bolt. Put it into place, line up your holes. Go ahead and push it through. Tapping it in just to go ahead and get it through. Just make sure that you have it even, nothing sticking out. You want to make sure your gas rings are spaced as well. Making sure that little gaps are not all together. We're going to put just a little bit of oil on the body of the bolt, and we're going to just wipe it with our hands and the locking lugs. Then we're going to wipe off the excess. You want it to be lubed, not soaked. Now, some of the lubrication on your bolt is going to transfer into the body of the bolt carrier. Making sure, of course, that your extractor is about here at the 10 o'clock and your ejector is over here at about the 4 to 5 o'clock. Go ahead and drop just a little bit of oil on your cam pin. We're going to go ahead and slide it into place. And then go ahead and turn it. A light coat of oil on your firing pin, not a whole lot, just a light coat. And get rid of that excess. Slipping it into place. Making sure that it's fully seated. You've got oil on your fingers, just go ahead and rub the little firing pin retainer pin, slip it into place. And then I'm going to put some oil right here on these rails, because you'll notice on your bolt after a while that you're going to have wear here and here, and also where the hammer slides on the bottom of the bolt carrier. Make sure those areas are touched up. In fact, in this area right here, this is where your buffer spring retainer pin runs through this, and you're going to want to make sure there's a little bit of oil here to keep wear down. We can see there's a little bit of wear right here on your gas key. You want to make sure that's taken care of too. Anywhere you see any wear, bolts all clean and ready to go. We're going to reattach the upper just so we can go ahead and clean the barrel. To clean the chamber, I like to use some of these Tabco star patches. These are fantastic. You can use different kinds of brushes to get in there, but I find this is the best. Now, I'm not worried about getting a little extra in here because some of it will go down into the barrel. We're going to slide into the locking lugs, and then we're going to turn. Gently pulling it out, that way it doesn't get stuck in the chamber, but if it does, you can pop it right back out. And this also, you can bring this up through your receiver, your upper receiver, and be able to clean as well. Okay, I typically use a bore snake just to run through the bore, but I'm going to put a little solvent on here. I don't like to get it on my bore snake, so I'm going to use a regular cleaning rod, running it through the chamber. And then I'm going to let that just soak just for a minute while I'm working on a couple of other things. The lower doesn't get that dirty, so you just want to wipe it down, wipe off your hammer face, check, see if there's any kind of debris or anything. Mainly you just want to get it cleaned up. The areas you want to focus on are right around the hammer and the trigger pin where the spring is. Just make sure there's a little bit of oil right there and where the disconnect. A little bit goes a long way. And you want to do it just a little, not a whole lot. Running just a little bit of oil on the hammer face, because not only does it ride under the bolt carrier, it also strikes your firing pin just to keep any kind of corrosion down and to keep it clean. And while you're here, you can go ahead and just put a little bit of coat of oil and rub it in with your fingers, getting rid of the excess. You also want to do that with your takedown pin. The buffer spring could use just a very light coat of oil, no big deal. Again, you can just run a little bit on it and then take your hand and just rub the spring itself, just giving it a little bit of lubricity. And then just put it back in. Okay, I'm going to take a dry patch, make sure that solvent is out of the bore. When it comes out the end of the bore, I like just to go ahead and pull the patch off instead of pulling it back through. You want to repeat this until the patch starts coming out clean. Once the solvent's out, I put just a little bit on my bore snake. You can do that a couple of times and it really cleans it up. It's according to what kind of bore snake you have, but a lot of these have little fibers and things that pick up any kind of debris or carbon buildup. I'm going to take one of these star patches and just make sure that I get everything cleaned out. Just a good clean one, nothing on it. You don't want to get a lot of lubrication in your chamber. That can cause a little bit of a problem. You're going to have some on your bolt. You can kind of go around the outside of the chamber as well. There we go. And then go ahead and get the inside of your upper. Now the upper receiver is pretty clean, so I don't really want to dump a bunch of solvent down here. So I'm going to take just a little bit of brake free, take my brush, and just give it a little bit of cleaning for anything that might be left in there. Then you can wipe out any excess that's in the upper receiver. A little touch at your trigger guard pin, at your magazine release, and a little bit right here at your bolt release. Also at your dust cover, a little bit at the pin, the spring, the catch, a little bit at your forward assist. Your gas key on your bolt carrier group runs into your charging handle, so you want just a little dab here, and then just make sure it's good and cleaned out. A little bit will go a long way, so not in excess. I'll go ahead and wipe things down after I've lubed them. The lube will penetrate and you're going to be good to go. Right here at the receiver extension or the buffer tube, go ahead and get that locked into place and check it out. One place that's easy to miss if you have A2 sights or even Magpul backup sights or different Troy or whatever you have is to make sure that they are also lubricated, because it's steel and most of them will have problems with the springs and you don't want any rust to go on. And your front sight. Again, a little bit goes a long way. Here at the sling swivel, I've seen ARs before right in here to have a little bit of rust start to come up when they've been sitting. So you want to make sure you keep your eye on these places. Just a little bit of oil on them doesn't hurt. Just a very light sheen. Again, the more you put on here though, the more it attracts dirt and grime. So be very conservative. And because we have a removable carry handle, you may want to put just a little bit in the threads. We're going to return our charging handle, get our bolt into place, lock it down. Now there are a lot of different philosophies on cleaning your AR-15, and this is just the way that I do it. You have every one of your military branches, they do it differently. You have law enforcement, and then you have your civilians and the guys that just eat, breathe, and sleep AR-15s, which I'm probably one of them. But there are a lot of different ways, but the main thing is to make sure you maintain your rifle and you keep it in good working order, because if you ever need it, you'll be glad you did. Some like to run them wet. I personally like to run mine a little on the dry side. But whatever your philosophy is, if you take it out to the range and shoot it, you'll figure out what works best for you. Be strong. Be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. The bolt carrier and the bolt and carrier, the bolt and the bolt carrier are your most. Now, most of your time needs to be spent with the bolt and bolt carrier, and that's because. Okay. Now I like to. It'll fit. Not in excess. A little bit will do. Go.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, Gun Breakdown, a Beginner's Guide. I'm Jonathan, and today we're going to be continuing our Colt series. Today we're going to be talking about how to break down and clean your Colt M4 carbine. Alright, let's go ahead and get right into it. First thing we're going to do is make sure the weapon is on safe, which it is. We're going to clear the source of ammunition, which there's no magazine inserted. If you do have a magazine in, you're just going to depress the mag release button right here and take out your magazine. And then after that, we're going to push these two pins in right here, this one and this one right here. So we're going to push those in and then come on this side and we're going to pop these out. Okay. Now that that's done, we can go ahead and pop this off, set that down to the side, pull our charging handle slash bolt carrier group out. So now we have it broken down into our upper receiver, our bolt carrier group, and our lower receiver. So in our lower receiver, we have our trigger housing group, but we also have our buffer tube and spring, which we'll deal with later. We have our bolt carrier group, which has our firing pin, cam pin, and bolt and extractor in it. We have our upper receiver, which has our barrel, and if you have any optics on it, it also has that on it as well. And this is a Picatinny rail. And if you don't know what Picatinny means, it just means these rails right here, these are Picatinny, as opposed to M-LOK, which I do not have on me at the moment. Otherwise, I'd show you the difference. But it's just a way to attach, but as far as all you need to know what Picatinny is, it's just a way to attach your accessories onto your firearm. It's just different methods of doing it. All right, so now we're going to go ahead. We're going to break down our bolt carrier group. So we're going to grab the firing pin, retaining pin, which is right here. We're going to set that inside of our charging handle. Next is going to be our firing pin. Next is going to be the cam pin, which will rotate 90 degrees. So you're going to push this in and then tap it out with your hand. And if your firearm is super dirty and it's stuck in there, that's okay. Just tap it in a few more, just tap your hand a few times and it should be able to come out. Next is going to be our bolt. We're going to set that down because we're done with that now. Next, we're going to pop out this super tiny pin right here. Right there. So we're going to pop that out. And we'll grab that. Thank you, Stephen Parker, for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that. I just got the notification for it. We'll set that super small pin inside here, the charging handle. And then we're going to take this piece off. And that is it. That is how you disassemble your Colt M4 carbine. And the last step we'll do is we'll take out this buffer tube and spring. Okay, and we'll just set this to the side. Oh, and if you noticed this little Carbon Boss that I bought today, it's a super neat looking tool. I've actually never used anything like this before, but if you guys would like for me to cover this in a how do I video, I'll show you guys in the next AR breakdown that I have how to use this tool. It'll be a learning experience for me as well. But just based on what I see in the pictures here, it's super neat. It's for your bolt carrier group. And yeah, I think it's a good little purchase, and we'll see if it holds up. I'll let you guys know. We'll do a quick review on it while we're using the tool and see if it's worth the shit. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put on some gloves really quick. Okay, now that we got our gloves on, we're gonna grab our CLP because that is all I have at the moment. I'm waiting on my shooter's lube to come in currently. Okay. So we're gonna want to make sure that we spray down inside of the dog here. We're gonna want to make sure that we spray inside of the trigger housing group. So everything inside of here, your pins right here. You can take solvent to those if you want to. You don't have to, but it can get dirty after an extended period of time. So it's up to you if you want to clean it or not. It'll only take a few extra seconds. So we'll set that back in there. Your paddle. So any piece that moves, you're going to want to lift up and you're going to want to spray inside there or take applicators too. So we'll go ahead and spray this down really quick. And the reason I caught this is because it'll fling CLP everywhere if I don't catch it. So that's the reason I did that. It only takes one time of getting CLP in your eye for you to learn your mistakes, I promise. All right, now that we have that done, you can also spray inside of your where your buffer tube and spring sit if you want to. This firearm is pretty clean, so I'm not going to do that on this video. But all you have to do is just spray inside of there, stuff your cleaning rag in there or your brush, go around in a circle and clean that out. So we'll go ahead and set this down to the side. Next is going to be our bolt carrier group, or bolt carrier rather. So it's kind of hard to explain, and there's really not a good way to see in it from this angle. But there is a little inner ring. There we go. Yeah, you can see it now. There's a little ring that sits right inside of here, and this is going to be an area that does get exceptionally dirty when you shoot it. So I will say take some extra time, scrape around here. You would be best to use a longer tipped applicator getting inside around there. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. You can see, this is what, there we go, get it to focus. And see, this is what it'll look like whenever you're cleaning it out. And then on the opposite side is also still the same ring. You can grab another applicator. And you're just going to go in a circular motion and get out the carbon. Now you can also take an applicator and get inside of here, which I don't remember what the name of this. I don't remember what the name of this piece is right here. If you know what the name of it is, please comment it in the comment section. That would help me greatly. I appreciate it. Thank you. So we do want to clean inside here. We'll spray a little bit of seal. We'll spray a little bit of seal, just a little bit of CLP in there. And in here. Okay, now that that's done, we're going to grab our firing pin. So our firing pin tends to get the most dirty. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Our firing pin tends to get the most dirty right here on this outer, yeah, there we go, on this ring right here. So you see how that just came off? So our firing pin tends to get the most dirty right around there. And also on the opposite side, sometimes you can get some carbon right around here, but generally it's just going to be the tip, and it's going to be right here around the base of the firing pin. So we'll go ahead and we'll spray a little bit on there, and we'll let that dissolve and break it down. Next is going to be our bolt plug, and you can't tell because I believe this is a nitride finish bolt carrier group. And if you're a new shooter, don't worry about that. All you need to know is that there's 3 different kinds of bolt carriers. You have your phosphate coating, you have your nitride finish, and then you have your nickel boron. If you are building an AR, I would recommend just getting nickel boron. So you can have carbon buildup. You can have carbon buildup right here, right along here, along this ring, where the gas ring's set, and also right here on this side, you can see some of the carbon setting on right here as well. So we're going to take some CLP and our scraper to that. Yeah, we're going to take some CLP to that. That was way too much. Here we go. And then we're going to want to spray inside of here as well, and also get the bolt face right here. Okay, now that we got that, we're going to set that to the side. And next is going to be this piece, which is called your extractor. Yeah, see, this is super helpful having an AR-15 tech mat. I recommend getting it if you don't know the entire nomenclature of your firearm. Okay, so we sprayed that a little bit. So there's a little spring that sits right here. Let's see if you can see it. There's a little spring right there that sets. So you're gonna want to make sure you spray that because that does get dirty too. Next is going to be our cam pin. And your cam pin just kind of gets dirty everywhere. There's no particular spot other than, I would say, these little ridges, these corners. Make sure you get around those as well. Okay. And you can use your fingers to help spread the solvent or whatever it is that you're using along the way. And then for the 2 smaller pins, what we're going to do is we're actually going to, I'm just showing you so you can see what's left. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to sit it inside of the charging handle and then spray the CLP in there so it can soak a little bit. So we'll go ahead and put these back in there. Okay. And while that's soaking, we can go ahead and move on to our upper receiver and clean off your hands as necessary. So we're going to want to make sure that we spray inside of here. I think this is your gas tube. That's this little silver piece right here. I think that's what it is. If it's not, please correct me in the comment section. And then this little star right here, this is where your bolt goes inside of, which feeds your rounds into. So it does also get exceptionally dirty inside of your chamber. So some cleaning kits come with the star, so we call it the star. This little star pattern right here, or a cog symbol. It looks like a cog right here. It comes with the patches or something similar to a patch, and you just spin it around in there, and that'll help. It's specifically designed for this to clean it out, which is super neat. But I don't have any on me at the moment. Okay. So we're going to set that down. So we're going to spray right here. We're going to let that run down. We're going to set that down. And now we're going to move on to our guide, or our buffer tube and our spring. So we're going to go ahead and pop this spring off. So your buffer tube can get dirty. You really only need a little bit of CLP or a little bit of, or just a little bit of solvent to clean it off. You really don't need that much, especially because you're just going to be using your hands to clean it off. So we'll just take that and we'll spread that along the way. Okay, we'll set that down. And now we're just gonna, you can use a brush, you can use a rag, or you can use your hands to clean your spring. I generally, honestly, just use my hands. There's really no wrong way of doing it. One way just takes longer than the other. One is more efficient and one is not. I generally just tend to use my hands. Whoops. So we'll take that, we'll spread that along the way. Let me grab that really quick. Okay. And now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab our brush. Something I haven't discussed yet on the channel is the differences in the brushes that come in your cleaning kits. So we have three brushes right here in order from left to right. We have our nylon brush, and that's going to be for when you're using it on the outside, so you want to protect the bluing of your rifle or the engraving. The middle is going to be your bronze brush, and that's going to be for your carbon that's really caked on there, that's really hard to get. And then last one's going to be your stainless steel brush, and that's just going to be your general purpose brush. It's kind of a one fits all kind of deal, but I would recommend using this brush for the outside of your weapon, especially if you want to keep it looking nice. So we'll set these brushes down here. We're going to grab our stainless steel, and we're going to brush along here. We're going to try to get inside of here. I also want to give a shout out to my friend for letting me borrow this. I appreciate you, friend. I really appreciate you letting me borrow your firearms for the channel. It really means a lot to me that you're helping me out and helping, really, and therefore helping other people out in the same process at the same time. So thank you. Okay. Now that that's done, we're going to set this down to the side. We're going to grab our firing pin and we're going to switch brushes to our bronze. And we're going to brush. And we're going to brush, let's see, we'll get the focus. And we're going to brush right here and get all this carbon, the black line you see, that's all carbon, and we're going to try to get all that off. We're going to take a little bit more CLP to it. Okay, that's still not working, so we're going to use our scraper. All right. And if you haven't shot your rifle in a while, this is going to be your sign to do so. This is going to be your sign to shoot and or clean it. So if you needed a sign, this is it, man. Clean your shit. So Lord knows I need to clean mine. Okay. Now that we've cleaned our firing pin, we're going to set that down to the side. We're going to grab our cam pin and we're going to go around the edges, the rectangular edges that you see right here. Okay. And now that that's done, we're going to set that back to the side. Next, we're going to grab our bolt and we're going to brush inside of that. And we're going to clean on top of right here as well, where a lot of carbon sits, or tends to like to sit. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And now that we got that, we're going to set that down to the side. We already have this done, our buffer spring and tube, that's done. And we're going to grab our extractor and we're going to brush this down really quick. It doesn't take much effort. Oh, and as you're cleaning your firearm along the way, make sure you wipe off your bristles to keep your brush clean so you're not spreading the mess around. Otherwise, you'll just end up in an infinite loop of cleaning. Next, we're going to clean our upper receiver. So we're going to take our brush. I'm going to go inside of here. Okay. And now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to clean out the bore. So I'm going to grab my bore snake really quick. And there we go. So now we're going to grab this. We're going to feed this through the chamber down into the barrel. So now that we got that, we're going to set this onto here. You don't have to do that, by the way. You don't have to fold it back in like that in order to use this. I just wanted to do that. So you'll set this in here. This little ball will catch. This little ball will catch on right there. Or maybe you do have to actually have that folded down. Okay, and now that we got that on there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to run this through. All right, now we're going to do a quick inspection. See if we're able to see anything from this angle or not. No, you're not going to be able to tell in the video. Okay, so let me take a look at it real quick just to make sure. Nope. All right, looks good to me. Now we're going to take our brush. We're going to brush our charging handle really quick. Any piece that moves, you're going to want to get inside there as well. You see how this opens up right here? Yep. Sorry about that. So I'm having to use my stomach in combination with both of my hands to get inside in between, but this is what I'm doing. So I'm just holding this open and I'm getting in between that space right there, cleaning that out. And next is going to be your retaining pin. Try to brush it if you can. A little bit of effort goes a long way. It is kind of hard to clean. That is generally just why I tend to soak it. Okay, now that that's done, we're going to grab this smaller pin that goes inside of where the extractor is, or extractor goes. Okay, and now that that's done, that is how you break down and clean your Colt M4 carbine. And now we're going to go ahead and put everything back together. After correction, we're going to wipe everything down first because there is an excess amount of CLP. So we're going to wipe this down. Make sure our hands are clean too. Actually, we're just going to put on a new set of gloves really quick. Just 1 second. Okay, now that that's done, we can go ahead and wipe this off. Or set that down to the side. We're going to wipe the inside of our charging handle, get any excess CLP because there's sure to be some. We're going to wipe off this small pin right here, put it back inside of our charging handle so we don't lose it. We're going to put our firing pin, retaining pin back inside of there. We're going to wipe off our extractor really quick, which is right here. Okay. Now we're going to wipe off our cam pin and firing pin. So we got our cam pin first. So just a quick wipe off of that. All right. And now that that's done, we're going to wipe off our bolt carrier group. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to build our bolt carrier group back together. So we're going to grab this. Doot. We're going to grab our extractor. We're going to put that back on. Oops, wrong way. There we go. Sometimes you're going to have to put pressure on your extractor to get your pin in. So I'm going to have to push this down and kind of wiggle it in there. All right, now we got that. Now we're going to put this in with our extractor facing outward, not in towards us, but outward. Next is going to be our cam pin. We're going to set that back in there sideways, then we'll turn it 90 degrees vertically like that. Now we're going to put in our firing pin. Next is going to be our firing pin, retaining pin. So we're making sure that this is cycling, or not cycling, but working the way that it needs to. Next, we're going to put in our charging handle. And then we're going to put in our bolt carrier group, lock that back in place. And then we're going to put back together our lower receiver after we take some Q-tips to it first, just to do a quick inspection. Make sure that this is clean. Nice. Okay, so that's clean, and now we're going to take our cleaning rag to it and dry off the internals. Okay, we're going to set the hammer back. Now we're going to put in our buffer spring, our buffer tube and our spring. Okay, now that that's done, we're going to put everything back together. Okay, And now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and perform what's called a functions check. So we're going to squeeze, we're going to make sure our weapon's already on safe. We're going to pull the trigger. Nothing should happen. Now we're going to flip it to fire. We're going to pull the trigger for a click. We're going to reset the charging handle, or reset the trigger. Let me extend that. There we go. Now we're going to pull the trigger and hold it down. Keep it held down. Rack the charging handle. Release it for a clunk. Pull it again for a click. Charge it again and put it on safe. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how you perform your disassembly, cleaning, reassembly, and functions check on your Colt M4 carbine. If you enjoy the channel, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for joining me today, and stay safe, take care, and carry every day.
Sekian, terima kasih. Like, share dan subscribe.